Please intro.
Oh, hey, how we doing?
Eric, it's good to see you, my dear, dear friend. How are you?
I'm great, Tony. So yeah, I love that chair. Show it to us. Show us that chair.
Oh yeah, you're in the
Oh,
gamer. You're in the gamer's chair, man.
Well, it was on sale on Amazon, so I picked the most comfortable chair I think I've ever owned.
really? Good on you, pal.
Gino, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Tony.
Eric and I go way back. I mean, by the
Oh,
way,
right.
congratulations on the new book, Runaway Train.
Runaway Train. Yeah. I didn't name it. The publisher did, okay? I also want to say I'm sorry to like deviate from what we're here for. I also want to say I did not pick out the cover portrait either. It looks very actory and pretentious, and I don't smoke anymore, so I don't like it. But I have no power over this book. I just wrote it.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Anyway, Gino is a winner. He's a great cat. I love working for him, and I
Thank
want
you.
you to meet. Say hi.
Well, let's talk Lumina, Gino.
Let's do it.
First of all, your background is so eclectic. No wonder why you're directing films now. Talk
Thank
to
you.
me about your love for movies and when did that develop?
Oh wow, my love for movies started when I was like 2.5, 3 years old, and I was going to the video store with my parents and choosing out videos like VHS back in those days, And I was picking out stuff like Voltron and Transformers and Star Wars, of course.
Yeah.
Was the big one that I'm a very big Star Wars fan, and that inspired me with science fiction. And of course, I was also into music and everything else. I went out to Los Angeles to do music, and just happened to be like I wrote short stories and poetry growing up, and I decided to write my first script in 2010 after reading Michael Mann's Heat.
Sure.
I'm a big Michael Mann fan as well. And I wrote about the deep web and Bitcoin. And that was my entrance into Hollywood. I was the first person to write about that in Hollywood and consult with the FBI.
Oh, very cool. And Lumina is kind of a thinking man's science fiction film. It really goes into some deep deep thoughts about conspiracies and abduction and all of that. Eric, yes.
We have an issue. We're calling it science fiction. That's a matter of opinion because because we'd have to be awfully pompous to believe we're the only living creatures in the entire universe. That's just pomposity beyond belief, and also kind of impossible just by the numbers.
I believe that too. I mean, I don't think we're alone at all. I think there's a universal goodness though, throughout throughout time and eternity. But getting back to the story of the film, where did that come from? I mean, is that something that you've just been pondering for a while?
I think, yeah, I wrote it in 2016. I wanted to see the psychological effect on someone and their group of friends. Like, if their loved one is abducted by aliens, how would they react? What would they do? Would they risk their lives to go after this person and try to find this person? It's very relatable because it's like I was saying before, in previous interviews, parents that lose a child to abduction,
Yeah.
that's kidnapped. Um, you know, if my girlfriend or my wife disappears, I would want to go in search of her, and I would probably bring along a bunch of friends to go with me to try to figure out what happened, especially if they experienced the abduction. And I think that inspired me. That and the stories of, you know, Marines, foreign military guys that I've spoken to that have experienced this type of phenomena while active and inactive duty and stuff like that. And they spoke to their experiences, and it really inspired me to go and put it out there because we need to talk about this subject because it's very relevant to this time.
It is a very relevant subject. Eric, you putting your name to this, gives it kind of that it's a quality film, and I know that you are very selective about what you do. Talk to me about Tom, your character.
Well, Tom, if he wasn't valedictorian, he's in the top 1 or 2% of his class, and he was always very bright, very ahead of himself, very progressive, and that he would accept the fact there are aliens, and I like him because also the way he's dressed. My boss Gino here describes him as a space cowboy, and he is that, and he's a really cool cat, but he's also very wise. He understands there is death. He understands we are mortal, and so that's why he vocalizes what he does. He understands we're only here for a heartbeat, and so there are other things to be dealt with, hence aliens.
He's a very considerate kind of character because he thinks about everything.
Thank you. Yes, that was thanks to my writer director Gino. But yes, he is that, and he has what I call immortal kindness, in that we all know we can only be kind for so long because it's over after so long. So let's be as kind as we can for so long. And that's what this guy is.
Gino, what do you think audiences are going to take away once they discover this film?
They're going to take away that, we're not alone. We could experience this phenomenon too. Like how, look, they're going to ask themselves the question: how much am I willing to risk to save someone? They're really going to ask themselves that. It's really some thought-provoking questions, because they're going to ask themselves that question. How far will I go? If I experience something like this, what would I do? In that person's situation, what will my friends do? Will my friends react to this? Will they come along the journey with me? So there's a lot of questions, a lot of soul searching they're going to be doing on this in this movie in particular.
Great water cooler conversation. Eric, I'm going to give you the last word in our conversation. What do you think audiences will take away from the film?
Well, we'd have to be, as I said earlier, we'd have to be awfully pompous to believe we're the only living creatures in the universe, because we're not. And hopefully this film will open minds to the fact that of course we're not, and it's okay. We don't have to be scared. We can be accepting.
I think so too. I think it's got a beautiful moral, and I said it's a great water cooler conversation after people see this. So Eric, always good to see you. Say hello to your darling wife for me, and Gino, thank you so much.
Pleasure to meet you, Tony. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, man.
I love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, pal.
Bye-bye.
Tony,
Tony will send you back.